Hey guys, Falafel92, and today is Heavy Metal Monday with Dream Theater. So, we got a unique Falling to Infinity poster. We also have their live concert video score, and the Dream Theater, the studio albums 1992 through 2011, plus Dream Theater's Distance Over Time, A Change of Seasons, their self-titled studio album, and When Dream and Day Unite. So let's begin. When Dream and Day Unite, it's a pretty good album, but I really didn't get too big into it, but, it's probably because of its age, so that's probably why. Distance Over Time is arguably one of their best albums. It's in my top 5. It's not quite at it's not number 1, but it's one of my favorite albums by them. We'll get into some of the other ones. A Change of Seasons was pretty cool, but the one thing I will say that I just, I really didn't care for the whole mix of studio work and, live stuff. They could have separated it into two different things. It's like, I compare A Change of Seasons to the Beatles' self-titled album, and that they could have separated studio work from the live stuff, kind of the same way that they could have, separated the first, say, 17 songs with the 13 songs that they did so that the White Album wasn't too long, if that makes sense. That's the comparison. Now, their self-titled album, at the time, I absolutely loved it, but now, I just kind of feel like, say, with the Illumination Theory, which is their longest track off that song, they tried doing something unique, but really, it kind of is like, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence is self-titled track, and the Count to Tuscany off Black Clouds and Silver Linings did it much better. So yeah. Now, Score is the only live video that I have by them, and it must have been pretty dope to watch them in concert. But now, actually, I got to see them in concert before, back in around October, November of 2016, and it was honestly pretty dope, watching them perform The Astonishing, which was the album that precedes Distance Over Time. It was pretty cool to watch them play live. I was probably way too young to have ever watched this album live in concert, but yeah. So it must have been pretty cool to watch, so yeah. Now, so 1972's Images and Words is one of my favorite albums, alongside Metropolis Part 2, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, and Black Clouds and Silver Linings. Now, so Awake, which is the album that succeeds Images and Words, I just felt like it tries to go to more grunge, because keep in mind that grunge was actually more popular than heavy metal was at the time. So I think Dream Theater tried doing that, but just me personally, it doesn't work for me at all, and I don't like it. I mean, yes, The Silent Man is probably one of my favorite Dream Theater songs, but yeah, I don't personally care for that album as a whole. Same thing with Falling to Infinity, which I personally I'm not really, unlike Awake, which had at least a song I like. I found that their sound was, I just felt like Dream Theater was struggling with their sound, particularly because they keep in mind that they had just hired Derek Sherinian to do keyboards off of A Change of Seasons. So yeah, I just personally really feel like it is filled with identity crisis. Now, Metropolis Part 2 and 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, I think, show the complexity that Dream Theater has, they identify themselves as, and that's what I love about them. So, yeah. Now, Train of Thought, the album that succeeds 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, was alright. I mean, you had Vacant and Endless Sacrifice, my personal favorites. But yeah, I just personally did not care for it otherwise. Octavarium, same thing. Maybe a few songs off that album that I liked, but otherwise did not really care for it. Systematic Chaos, same thing, really didn't care. Black Clouds and Silver Linings, the final album with the original three members being John Petrucci on guitars, John Mayung on bass, and Mike Portnoy on drums. Again, Count of Tuscany proves why I love Dream Theater so much. Now, A Dramatic Turn of Events, which is the first album with Mike Mangini, I really didn't care. I mean, a lot of people compare it to Images and Words. I don't know. I don't really care. I just, personally, not my cup of tea, so... Now, it's important that I do not have 2016's The Astonishing. If you thought that the drumming and overall writing on Dream Theater, their self-titled 2013 album, was bad, buckle up, because it's way worse. The Astonishing is just overblown. Drumming's not that good, and really it feels like a John Petrucci album rather than Dream Theater. And A View on Top of the World, their latest album, I have listened to a few of the singles. They're pretty good, but I haven't got into the album. So, yes, and really it should be noted, aside from Score, I did not cover any of the live albums or compilations that they did, even though they have one compilation and, 10, 12 live albums? I think maybe half that amount of live albums, but yeah. So, yeah, Dream Theater is one of the biggest reasons I got into YouTube and overall music as a whole. So, if it wasn't for them, then I wouldn't have chosen to do music. So, yeah, Metal Monday with Falafel 92.